Hello, dear friends. I assume that many of you are already acquainted with the recent case of Dr. SHAHANA, a suicide related to dowry that occurred in Kerala. Predictably, the media has sensationalized the entire situation, systematically attributing blame to the groom's family without acknowledging any sense of responsibility on the part of the girl for such a drastic action. Just to give you the background of what happened, Dr. Shahana, a postgraduate student in the surgery department of the Government Medical College in Trivandrum, was in a relationship with Dr. Ruwais, who was also a postgraduate doctor in the same college. When the time came for marriage, as usual, parents got involved, and the groom's side allegedly demanded a massive dowry in different forms, including gold, land, and a BMW car. And when Shahana's family was unable to fulfill these unfair demands, her boyfriend decided to end their relationship and called off the wedding. This led to Dr. Shahana committing suicide. I would like to offer three perspectives to shed a broader light on the issue of dowry in India with this context. First, the influence of Hinduism. The tradition of dowry is not merely a social custom. Probably most are unaware that it is supported by the religious foundations within Hinduism. According to Hinduism, the primary purposes of Hindu marriage include the fulfillment of the four aims of life. First, dharma, righteousness. Second, artha, wealth. Third, kama, pleasure. And fourth, moksha, liberation. Marriage is seen as a means to fulfill these four goals. Now tell me, if the pursuit of wealth is one of the goals in marriage, is it surprising that we have the practice of dowry prevalent in the Indian society? Our Hindu friends are exactly doing what their religion is teaching them to do. Adding to that, since women have always been looked down in the Indian society, dowry just became another means of suppression for men to exploit to their own advantage, especially when it is perceived as the most effective means of acquiring wealth. Given India's predominantly Hindu identity, the cultural and societal norms are profoundly shaped by these religious principles, which has made Christians and Muslims in India also participate in the practice of dowry. Hence, to eliminate dowry, there is a necessity for reform within Hinduism, transforming the institution of marriage into a sacramental union between man and a woman, emphasizing the individual bond rather than seeing marriage as a wealth generating issue. Second, it takes two parties. I've always been puzzled as to why only the groom's family is typically blamed in the context of dowry by the media. Doesn't the bride's family also play a significant role in perpetuating the practice of dowry? The Dowry Prohibition Act explicitly prohibits both taking and giving of the dowry. So I think in any case of dowry, both the groom's family and the bride's family should be blamed. It is also worth emphasizing that in every dowry related scenario, both the bride and groom's family actively engage and come to a consensus. Consequentially, at any point in the process, if the consensus is not reached, the bride's family possesses the complete freedom to reject and say no. This no can pertain either to the dowry demanded or the proposal itself. Now let's examine the case of Dr. Shahana. Accusation suggests that Dr. Ruwai's family requested dowry for the marriage to proceed. Did Shahana's family possess the freedom to decline? Certainly yes, so they refused to the dowry demand citing financial constraints. Consequentially, the groom's family called off the wedding. Now, any reasonable person would have taken some time to recover from the shattered relationship and would have moved on with their life. But Dr. Shahana took the most drastic and irresponsible decision of ending her own life of her own accord without contemplating the well-being of her family. Dr. Shahana had the option to avoid becoming a victim of her boyfriend's action. She could have terminated the relationship when the dowry demand arose, but she did not do that. So stop blaming the groom's family for this. In this situation, she was not a victim, she had a choice. In the Indian society, I believe it is essential to address both the individual contemplating suicide and factors leading to it. Whenever we portray the person contemplating suicide solely as a victim, there is a risk of inadvertently glorifying suicide, suggesting it as the only option for those who feel victimized. Third, why the government? Have you ever wondered why the government is getting involved in the process of dowry where two consenting parties are negotiating their terms for marriage? There is no force or violation of rights. So, what is the government's role here exactly? In a country like India, where the freedom of speech is part of the constitution, the groom's family has the right to make the demand and the bride's family has the right to decline. If you can't afford what they're asking or you don't like the very fact that they're asking for dowry, shut it down and look for another proposal. I don't think government should interfere in these personal matters such as these. And furthermore, as many of you know, one of the main reasons why India is still considered as a third world country is due to the lack of enforcement of existing laws by the law enforcement. Have you ever witnessed a traffic rule enforced in Indian roads? Relying on the same authorities to enforce dowry prohibition laws seems like a joke. I believe the elimination of dowry from the Indian society can only happen when the groom's families consistently reject any dowry demands and refuse to participate. If a significant number of people take the stance, it will create shortage of supply, reducing the number of girls willing to pay dowry. Eventually, this will compel boys' families to accept marriages without dowry as the norm. We should stop depending on government to solve our problems, especially in a corrupt country like India. If you disagree with anything that I've said in this video, please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. God bless you.